Hi, Scott Wilkinson here, editor of AVSforum.com and host of the Home Theater Geeks podcast. I'm talking with Geir Skaaden, Senior Vice President at DTS, and you were among the panelists this morning talking about immersive audio. DTS X is one of the entrants into that foray, shall we say. What's new with DTS X?
Well, I think we're excited. This is kind of our launch year for DTS X, and the amount of support we've had both in the content community as we rolled out with Hollywood studios, games and music, as well as the AVR manufacturers. I think what's been announced, I think about 90% of the market will support DTS X, and I think end of this year the starting price point will be around $450. So $450, $499. So that's a pretty broad spectrum of product. So it's a big year for us in that sense.
Now, unlike Dolby Atmos and Oro, DTS X did not get a head start in the commercial cinema. Is that a space you want to be playing in, or are you more focused on the home?
No, great question. So we do have a cinema presence as well. We're re-entering the market with MDA as an open object-based audio platform that's broadly used, and I think you would see most of the premium screens that are either non-branded or not branded on one of the competitive formats embracing MDA, and that's already taken place. DTS X is also launched as a flexible, scalable cinema format. So for those exhibitors who choose to do immersive audio with DTS X, that's certainly an option, and we expect that to grow in the US as well as in Asia over the next 12 to 15 months.
I did misspeak a little bit. Certainly MDA has been on the market for quite a while, and movie sound people have been using it to create immersive mixes. That's at the creation end. DTS X is at the exhibition end, shall we say, right? And that's a newer thing.
That's correct. That's correct. So I think it was officially announced at CinemaCon in March, and we have Carmichael Cinemas in the U.S. and GDC is a big partner for us in Asia. So that rollout is taking place and with great momentum. So definitely there'll be a presence in the cinema.
Now, I asked you in the panel, and I'd love to get your take on it here in this little interview, about speaker placement. One of the things that you have said in the past that I think is really good is that DTS X is pretty flexible. Being an object-based system, you don't need a specific set of speakers or a layout in order for it to work well.
That's right. So I think we're working with our hardware partners on this point, but the format being object-based gives you a lot of flexibility and scalability in that sense. So of course, one way of using that is adding speakers, but the other part you could use it is you get a more correct rendering with less speakers or speakers in suboptimal placement or suboptimal rooms. So each...
Which are probably most of the rooms out there.
That's right, that's right. I think that's really the greatest innovation that DTS X and object-based audio gives to the content creation community and the consumer is that you can get a correct, immersive experience with a broader set of playback systems.
When will we expect to see, or are there already, say, Blu-ray titles or streamed or downloadable titles with a DTS X soundtrack?
Yeah, so X Machinima came out already as a Blu-ray title in July. That's the first Blu-ray title with DTS X. Okay. And as we've done with Blu-ray over the last 5 to 10 years, we have a close working relationship with all the major studios. And I think if you look at the Blu-ray penetration today, DTS Master Audio certainly is the majority of the titles. And I think one of the premise that DTS X has for the content owner and the user is that it's backward compatible. So if you have a Blu-ray disc with DTS X, the fallback, if you don't have a DTS X system, will always be DTS HD Master Audio, which is pretty important because we want to maintain that lossless integrity and ensure that regardless of playback system, the backward compatibility gives you an optimal experience for really the whole audience.
And with being object-oriented, even if objects are flying overhead or whatever, if you have a 5.1 system, you'll still hear everything, right?
That's correct. That's the point, is that within the DTS X bitstream, you have that playback capability that's backwards compatible. Exactly.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you, Scott.